How can I not rush in? Look at this.
He can barely contain his excitement.
It started with a man who looked almost giddy, holding up a samurai sword he just bought online. His name was Marcus Monzo, and within hours that same blade would leave a trail of horror across northeast London.
With this 23-inch sword he ordered online, Marcus Monzo went on to murder a schoolboy and try to kill 4 others. But the cat in this video was his first victim. Early morning in April last year, he was driving this van. Donato Irule was on his way to work. He's shown by this pink arrow. Monzo then drove into him before getting out and hitting him in the neck with the sword. Mr. Irule is filmed screaming as he runs away. He survived.
Monzo's first target was a man on his way to work, Donato Irule. Without warning, Monzo swerved his van straight into him, then jumped out and slashed his neck with a sword. Donato somehow managed to escape, bleeding but alive. But the next victim wouldn't be so lucky. 14-year-old Daniel Njorin had just left home in his school uniform, heading out for what should have been a normal day. He never saw the attack coming. Monzo struck with fatal blows to his head and neck. Injuries so severe, doctors later said they couldn't have survived. Neighbors called for help, but when the ambulance arrived, it wasn't Daniel who greeted them. It was Monzo, sword still in hand. Police showed up and tried to stop him with pepper spray, but Monzo wouldn't back down. Instead, he rambled about God, slashing at officers and leaving 2 of them badly injured.
Just killed that boy. He just killed him.
As Daniel's body lay in the street, neighbours rang for help, but it was Monzo who greeted the ambulance. And when the first police officers arrived, armed with a type of pepper spray,
drop the sword!
They quickly realised they needed backup.
Line close, more units, more units!
Monzo ignored repeated calls to stop. Instead, he replied with rambling questions about whether God is here.
Drop it!
Are there gods here?
Drop!
Are there gods? Are gods?
The first was slashed to the head, shoulder and arm.
Police officer stopped! Police officer stopped!
The chaos didn't end there. Monzo broke into a nearby home through an unlocked door. A couple woke up to find him standing in their bedroom. He struck the husband with a sword, and prosecutors later said the only reason they weren't slain was because their 4-year-old daughter started crying, which made Monzo leave.
Back outside, an inspector took Monzo on with his baton, but was struck on the hand and bleeding.
Get a tourniquet for the governor, quick!
Again, Monzo made a run for it, but eventually he was cornered, tasered and arrested. The weapon finally out of his hands.
In court, Monzo claimed he couldn't remember what happened, blaming cannabis-induced psychosis. But intoxication was no excuse. He was found guilty of Daniel's murder and multiple counts of attempted murder. In just 20 minutes of violence, Marcus Monzo took an innocent boy's life, shattered families, and scarred an entire community. Daniel should have made it to school that day. Instead, his name will forever be tied to one of London's darkest mornings. March 31, 2006 started like any other night for Brian Shear, a 27-year-old medical student at Ohio State. He just finished his spring exams and was looking forward to a little break. Earlier that evening, he'd had dinner with his dad, chatting about school, the future, life after med school, warm, optimistic conversation. Little did they know it would be their last meal together. Later, Brian headed out to blow off steam at a bar called the Ugly Tuna Saloona in Columbus. It was packed. College students, locals, young professionals, all having a good time. He met up with his friends Clint Florence and Meredith Reed, laughed, drank, and just enjoyed the night, even with the weight of his mother's recent death hanging over him. Then, sometime after 2 a.m., the night turned into a nightmare. Surveillance footage captured Brian riding the escalator into the bar, smiling, chatting with 2 women outside. Friendly, relaxed, not someone planning to vanish. But at 1:57 a.m., the last blurry footage shows him stepping into a small alcove near a service door. Just like that, he disappeared. The cameras recorded everyone else leaving the bar, every other patron, every exit. But Brian, gone, vanished without a trace. The Columbus police called in the FBI. They combed the footage frame by frame, checked every nook, every blind spot, nothing. Theories swirled. Maybe he slipped down an emergency exit to a construction site. Maybe he never left the bar and was taken inside. Maybe he staged his own disappearance, grieving his mom's death. But Brian had plans. He was supposed to fly to Miami with his girlfriend Alexis, maybe even propose. Walking away from everything didn't fit the guy everyone knew. Investigators searched everywhere: dumpsters, sewers, rivers, his car, his phone, his bank accounts. Nothing. Clint Florence, the last person to see him, refused to polygraph, fueling suspicion. Meredith Reed passed hers. Rumors online popped up, sightings in the Virgin Islands, Sweden, human trafficking, but none were confirmed. Even the bar's cameras weren't perfect, grainy, outdated, with blind spots around stairwells and exits. Maybe he slipped through one of those shadows. Brian's father, Randy, never gave up hope. Tragically, in 2008, Randy died in a freak accident, leaving Brian's brother Derek to continue the search alone. Nearly 2 decades later, Brian's shearer is still missing. The bar is closed. The footage remains chilling, and the mystery haunts Columbus. A young man, full of life, surrounded by people and cameras, simply vanished. His brother still hopes, clinging to the idea that one day the truth will come out. Brian's disappearance reminds us sometimes, even in plain sight, people can vanish, leaving only questions, grief, and a silence that never fades. A Domino's worker delivers in the pouring rain, only to get stiffed on a tip. His frustration boils over in a viral clip. 5 minutes in the rain and no tip.
No!
Bro, just calm down. You only gotta take one more delivery.
I don't want to work here anymore! 5 minutes! 5 minutes out there in the rain! And no tip! No tip!
Holy
For some, it's a funny overreaction. For others, it's a window into how thankless delivery work can be. But can we agree Domino's is the worst pizza on planet Earth? Faith Daniel Hedgepath was just 19, a bright, ambitious student at UNC Chapel Hill, and a proud member of the Haliwa Saponi tribe. She'd earned the prestigious Gates Millennium Scholarship, paving the way for college and beyond. Her dream? To become a pediatrician or a teacher and give back to her community. Friends called her bubbly, smart, full of life, someone whose laugh could lift the mood of any room. But in the early hours of September 7, 2012, Faith's life was brutally cut short. That night, she and her roommate, Karina Rosario, went to a sorority event, then hit the campus library, and later the Thrill nightclub. Security footage shows them entering around 12:30 a.m., Faith smiling, dancing, carefree. By 2:06 a.m., the two left the club, heading back to their apartment. Rosario left soon after to stay at a friend's place, leaving Faith alone. Sometime between 3:30 and 4:30 a.m., the unthinkable happened. When Rosario returned later that morning with another friend, Marisol Rangel, they found Faith's bedroom in chaos. She was partially nude, wrapped in a quilt, her head brutally beaten, blood splattered everywhere. Nearby was an empty rum bottle, likely the murder weapon, and a handwritten note that read, "I'm not stupid, bitch, jealous." Experts thought the writing might have been disguised to throw off investigators. Rosario's 911 call was chilling. Her voice trembled as she reported the scene, refusing to touch Faith, even when urged to check if she was breathing. Investigators described the call as haunting, hesitant, oddly detached.
To check and see, is she breathing?
Kate, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Okay, listen to me.
There's blood everywhere.
There's what?
There's blood everywhere.
Early evidence suggested sexual assault. DNA was collected, but initial testing turned up nothing. Months later, a mysterious voicemail from Faith's phone surfaced, possibly capturing her final moments. A woman saying, "I think she's dying," and a man replying coolly, "Do it anyway." The recording horrified her family and authorities. Years passed. In 2016, police released a DNA-generated composite sketch of the suspect, but no arrests were made. Questions swirled about Rosario's story and why Faith had been left alone. The case went cold, leaving Faith's family desperate for answers. Finally, in September 2021, 9 years later, there was a breakthrough. Miguel Salguero Olivares, arrested for a DUI, matched DNA found at Faith's apartment. His palm print was on the rum bottle. He was charged with first-degree murder, indecent assault, and sexual assault. Still, many questions remain. Why Faith was targeted, whether it was planned or opportunistic, and the meaning of that bizarre note. For Faith's family, the arrest brought some relief but no full closure. Her father Roland said, "We have faith the truth will come out." Faith's story is a tragic reminder that violence can strike the brightest lives, leaving grief and questions that linger for years.
В случае я поворачивался и на полу потом ощущался.
сваливаться. И поэтому стул ставлю рядом, чтобы не упасть.
Кофточку поднимайте.
А?
Кофточку.
А?
Кофточку поднимайте. Кофточку
Майку поднимайте. Майку поднимайте.
In Russia, a patient in distress places his trust in paramedics, but while one distracts him, another is caught on camera rifling through his pockets in desperate for valuables. The internet called him the thief in uniform, a chilling betrayal when care becomes crime.
Что вы? Нет, нет, майку и на спинку. Мне нужна ваша грудь.
Вот с войны осталось.
Ага.
Ага.
Я понял.
Да.
понял.
Ручки вдоль тела.
Руки вот так вдоль тела.
Лежим, не разговариваем, не двигаем.
This time, it's not a story about destruction, it's about survival. Out in the mountains, survival takes more than skill. You need quick thinking, courage, and sometimes pure luck. There's something magical about winter up there. The silence, the vast white stretching forever, sunlight bouncing off snow like glitter in the air. Skiing lets you slip right into that stillness, weightless, free, far from all the noise of everyday life. That first rush down the slope, icy air biting your face, the adrenaline, the speed, it's addictive, cutting smooth lines through untouched powder, each turn carrying its own rhythm. For a moment, the world feels simple again. But the same mountain that gives you peace can turn dangerous in an instant. Underneath that perfect powder hides ice, hidden drops, an unstable snowpack. One wrong move, one split-second mistake, and everything changes. Every winter, thousands of skiers end up hurt. Broken bones, concussions, torn ligaments, and for some, the mountains don't let them go at all.
Oh, God. I think he's unconscious. Is he out? You out, Chris? Did we stop him?
Somehow, in this other clip, this young guy survived a brutal fall on the slopes. Honestly, it's a miracle he walked away. When you're flying downhill at nearly 60 kilometers an hour, one wrong move can turn deadly fast. Trees aren't just trees anymore. They're like walls. Rocks don't forgive. In a small slip, it can end with a devastating crash. But here's the thing, falling isn't the only danger up in those snowy mountains. The higher you climb, the more unpredictable it gets. Up there, survival isn't guaranteed.
Пиздец. Блять, пидорасы, блять, что вы делаете? Я хуй... Юля, отгоди! Блять, сука! Блять, ебануться!
In another video's case, the brakes gave out completely, and the ski lift spun out of control as gravity yanked the chairs back down the mountain. Chaos broke out fast. people screaming, cheers slamming into each other, but thanks to quick-thinking bystanders, the worst was avoided. Miraculously, no one was critically hurt. But here's the thing, sometimes the real danger on the mountain isn't speeding downhill or a lift gone haywire. Sometimes it's what's hiding silently under the snow beneath your feet.
Faut faire gaffe, il y a l'arrimée ici.
Oh putain, balance, balance.
Oh, chaud devant l'arrimée. Merde. Non. Non. Ah. Aide-moi. Je crois que je me suis niqué le genou, vite. Ça va tomber. Oh putain. Putain, merde! Viens me tirer! Ah, je me suis niqué le genou, je crois. Faut pas que tu te mettes en dessous de moi, sinon il y a tout qui me tombe sur la gueule. Préviens les autres! Faut pas que t'ailles au-dessus de moi là.
Je peux pas aller dedans. Putain, j'ai zéro corde, fake.
Ah, j'arrive pas à pousser sur ma jambe. Vas-y, lâche. Allez, vas-y.
The smooth untouched snow can be deceiving. Beneath the surface, glaciers hide deep, narrow crevices. They are openings thinly veiled by fragile snow bridges. Step in the wrong spot and the ground just vanishes beneath you. That's exactly what happened here. One moment he was skiing across open snow, the next he was swallowed by the earth, dropping into icy darkness. The walls of the crevice closed in like glass, the cold slicing through his layers as panic set in. Above, his friend scrambled, knowing every second mattered. A fall like this isn't just about the impact. Hypothermia can set in fast. The silence down there was crushing, broken only by ragged breaths and the echo of his friend's voice. Worst yet, he knew he could slip even deeper.
Je vais essayer de faire quelque chose. Putain, j'ai peur que le gros bloc il me tombe sur la gueule là. Ok, prends ça. Tu as? Putain, je crois que je me suis niqué le ligament. Hein.
Ah putain, merde.
J'ai le genou qui tient pas là. Ah! Je peux pas, gros, j'ai le ski bloqué. Putain, je suis. Il va falloir que tu me tires là, prends le piolet.
Je peux pas te tirer, gros. J'aurais pas assez d'air de force. Hein.
Faut que vous me sortiez.
Ah, on va sortir.
Putain, j'ai le genou qui est sorti, sa mère. Attends, je vais essayer d'enlever l'autre ski, mais ça me fait peur. J'essaie d'enlever l'autre ski, tiens. Ah.
Ok, super. Nickel. Ok.
Oh.
Allez, bon. Allez, c'est bien.
Ah, j'ai mal.
Allez, super. C'est prêt.
Attends. Ah, je me suis bien fait le genou, je pense.
Ah merde. Bon, au moins, t'es pas enfoui sous la neige.
Tu me tiens bien?
Ouais.
But they didn't give up. Rope by rope, hand by hand, they managed to haul him back to the surface. He was alive, but badly hurt, too weak to make it down on his own.
Il y a un trou là aussi.
Ils vont être ici.
Voilà.
They called for help, waiting in the freezing air until the sound of helicopter blades finally thundered overhead. A winch dropped down and he was lifted out of danger at last.
marqué le genou et ça me l'a tordu.
Tu vas aller le clipper là-bas.
Tiens, clip-toi.
C'est bon? Et du coup, c'est imposant, c'est ça?
In the mountains, survival often comes down to moments. The right person in the right place acting fast. This time luck was on his side. Many others aren't as fortunate. Still, people return to the slopes again and again because skiing isn't just a sport, it's a feeling, a connection to something wild and untamed. The mountains demand respect, but so does every place where risk hides in plain sight. On the night of May 10th, 2022, just before midnight, an officer in Euless, Texas, noticed something odd about a black Ford Focus driving along FM 157. The plates didn't match. One in the front, a different one in the back. At 11:53 p.m., he tried to pull the car over, but the driver wasn't stopping. Instead, the Ford sped off into the night. The officer hit his lights and sirens, but the chase didn't last long. Department policy put safety first, and since this was only a minor violation, the officer shut the pursuit down, following at a safer distance. Even so, something about the whole situation felt off. A minute later, the Ford turned onto Trinity Boulevard. That's when a blinding flash lit up the road. The officer rushed ahead and found disaster.
Continue eastbound from in there.
34, they just hit a transformer eastbound on Trinity at Main Street.
Big blade transformer, eastbound Trinity Main.
Start medics.
Start medic.
The car had smashed into a utility pole, then slammed head-on into a Nissan Versa. Inside that Nissan was 23-year-old Melissa Ma, a student at Texas Women's University, working toward her doctorate in occupational therapy. She was just driving home that night, completely unaware of what was coming. First responders tried to help, but Melissa was unconscious, and soon after, she was pronounced dead. The Ford's passenger was badly hurt, trapped in the wreckage. The driver, later identified as a man in his 20s, climbed out and ran. Witnesses saw him scramble into a ditch, but he didn't get far. Within minutes, officers and bystanders caught him. He was charged with felony evading arrest. Melissa's death left her family shattered, both in Texas and back home in Ireland. A young woman with so much ahead of her, gone in an instant. Some people later questioned if the officer had done the right thing by ending the chase, wondering if things might have ended differently, but others pointed out he was following the rules, never imagining that a routine stop over mismatched plates would lead to such a tragedy. On January 11, 2013, students at Lowndes High School in Valdosta, Georgia, stumbled onto a scene nobody could forget.
From the Lowndes High School now, there's a dead body out here.
Okay, where at, sir?
Lowndes High School in the old gym.
In the old gym, rolled up tight inside a vertical wrestling mat, was 17-year-old Kendrick Johnson. His body was head down, feet sticking out like he'd been swallowed by the mat. Even seasoned investigators were shaken. How does a teenager end up like that? Authorities called it an accident. Their story: Kendrick dropped his sneakers into the mat, tried to reach them, and got trapped, suffocating what they called positional asphyxia, but his family refused to believe it. Kendrick was an athlete, strong and coordinated. He wouldn't have rolled himself up into a mat just for shoes. His father, Kenneth Johnson, said bluntly, "My son was murdered, and someone knows what happened." The case grew even stranger when they reviewed surveillance footage. The cameras only showed Kendrick walking into the gym. Nothing after that. No struggle, no hint of what happened, just silence. The conflicting autopsies didn't help. The state autopsy called it an accident. The family-funded one said blunt force trauma to the neck. A third leaned back toward the accident. The mixed findings fueled suspicion that something sinister had gone down. Rumors swirled about a fight with two brothers at the school, and the fact that Kendrick's father was an FBI agent only added fuel to the fire. The family sued local officials and administrators for $100 million, accusing them of a cover-up. That case was dismissed, but the Johnsons didn't stop. They held rallies, press conferences, and vigils, keeping Kendrick's story alive nationally. Then came the disturbing claim about his exhumed body. His parents said Kendrick's organs were missing and replaced with newspapers. Officials claimed it was standard funeral procedure and decomposition, but to the family, it looked like evidence tampering. The FBI got involved, combing through video, interviewing witnesses, and reviewing evidence. Still, in 2016, the Justice Department announced there wasn't enough to press federal charges. Public outrage continued, fueled by the graphic photos of Kendrick's injuries that the family released. In 2021, the case was officially reopened. Investigators promised to review over 17 boxes of evidence, but months later, they concluded there was still no proof of foul play. Officially, it's still listed as an accident, but for Kendrick's parents, the questions haven't gone away. How did a teenager disappear into a wrestling mat without anyone hearing him? Why didn't the autopsies agree? Why are pieces of surveillance footage missing? For the Johnsons, this isn't just about suspicion, it's about their son's life, taken in a way nobody can explain. For the public, Kendrick Johnson's story has become a symbol, not just of tragedy, but of mistrust, unanswered questions, and a fight for justice that's far from over. On March 22, 2024, a school bus was making its way back home from a field trip along Highway 21 near Bastrop, Texas. On board were 44 little pre-K kids and 11 adults, tired, happy, and ready to be home after a long day. But just before 2 p.m., everything changed. Out of nowhere, a concrete truck drifted across the center line straight into the bus's path. The driver tried to swerve, but there was no time. The truck slammed into the bus, flipping it onto its side. Seconds later, a car behind them crashed into the wreckage. The scene was chaotic. 53 people were hurt, and 2 lives were lost. One was 5-year-old Ulysses Montoya, a pre-K student. The other was Ryan Wallace, a 33-year-old doctoral student who had been driving the car behind the bus. Both were pronounced dead at the scene. As investigators dug in, the story got even worse. The truck driver, 43-year-old Jerry Hernandez, admitted he had smoked weed the night before, used cocaine that morning, and slept barely 3 hours. On top of that, he wasn't even supposed to be driving. He'd failed drug tests before and was banned under federal rules. The company that hired him hadn't bothered to check. Hernandez was arrested 2 days later and hit with multiple charges, including manslaughter and negligent homicide. If convicted, he faces up to 18 years in prison. Families of the victims have since filed lawsuits against the school district, the bus driver, and the trucking company. 2 lives ended that day, one just beginning, the other chasing big dreams, and all because someone who should never have been behind the wheel was. On July 16th, 2025, inside a small restaurant in Vila Industrial, Sao Paulo, Brazil, an ordinary workday turned into chaos. A surveillance camera captured the moment a cook leaned over a pressure cooker, adjusting the valve, when suddenly, boom, the entire thing exploded. The blast was deafening. In the footage, you can see her stumble out of the kitchen, clearly in pain, while her co-workers panic, some rushing to help, others calling for emergency services. 2 men quickly carried her out and got her to a nearby hospital. She ended up with burns to her face and hands, but thankfully, she was treated and released the very same day. Still, it's hard to imagine how terrifying that moment must have been. It's a reminder that sometimes danger isn't lurking in dark abandoned places or hidden in the mountains. Sometimes it's right there in the everyday routines we trust the most. 1 second you're cooking dinner, the next, everything changes. It was the night of July 4th, 2021, around 10:15 p.m. when 20-year-old Kirby from Hendersonville, Tennessee was heading home in his convertible. He just watched the Nashville fireworks from a quiet parking garage, trying to avoid the chaos downtown. A friend rode shotgun while 2 more followed behind in another car with a dash cam running. As Kirby sat at a red light in Midtown Nashville, a white sedan pulled up next to him. Out of nowhere, someone in the back seat rolled down the window and tossed a lit firework straight into his car. It hit him in the head, landed on the folded roof, and exploded seconds later. The blast burned a hole through the top and scorched the side of the car. On video, you can even hear the people in the sedan laughing as they sped off. Kirby swerved over and called 911. He ended up with burns on his fingers from trying to grab the firework and throw it out, along with ringing in his ear that lasted for days. His passenger was thankfully okay, but the damage to the car was nearly $3,000. A GoFundMe was launched to help with repairs, and his mom went online to spread the word and ask for help identifying the people responsible. But here's the chilling part. No one has ever been caught. Years later, the case is still open. Whether those people thought it was just a joke or not, it wasn't funny. It caused real harm, serious damage, and next time something like this could be deadly. It was December 18, 2011 in Spanish Lake, Missouri, around 3 in the afternoon. 23-year-old Phoenix Golden backed her black Chevy Blazer out of her family's driveway. Her dad, Lawrence, saw her leave and figured she was just running to the store or a friend's house. Nothing seemed off, but that would be the last time he ever saw her.
She backed out of the driveway and we never saw her again.
Just over 2 hours later, her SUV was found abandoned in East St. Louis, Illinois, a city known for its crime. The car was still running, the keys in the ignition, the driver's door wide open, like she had just stepped out and disappeared into thin air. Inside were her glasses and a pair of shoes, but no Phoenix. To make matters worse, her family wasn't told about the car for nearly 2 weeks. By the time they found out, the crucial early hours to gather leads had already slipped away.
Found out where the vehicle was, and the East St. Louis police had had the vehicle towed to the impound yard probably 3 hours after she went missing. I understand that in a situation like that, the police should determine who the vehicle belongs to and notify the county where the vehicle is registered so that they can contact the people who own the vehicle.
For Lawrence and his wife, Goldia, the shock was unbearable. To the outside world, Phoenix seemed like the picture of promise, religious, talented, disciplined. She'd excelled at piano, violin, and even fencing. But as investigators dug deeper, a different side emerged. She had quietly withdrawn from college, kept a secret boyfriend, and a social life her parents didn't know about. Phone records showed constant contact with one man in the days before she vanished. While her mom doesn't think he harmed her directly, he may have introduced her to risky situations. The family's heartbreak was worsened by the lack of media attention. They felt overlooked, wondering if race played a role in why Phoenix's story didn't make national headlines. Over the years, false leads and hoaxes drained their savings and energy, leaving them with nothing but questions. More than a decade later, Phoenix Golden's disappearance remains a haunting mystery. No sightings, no bank activity, no real leads. The FBI has been involved, but without concrete evidence, the case is stalled. Her home, once a place of comfort, now echoes with absence. Rooms filled with memories of a daughter who walked out one afternoon and never returned. Phoenix's story is chilling, a young woman vanishing in broad daylight, leaving only a running car and a trail of questions that remain unanswered.
At least 2 people are dead and dozens injured after a suspect plowed a vehicle through a crowd.
It was supposed to be a night of joy, a cold December evening in Magdeburg, Germany. The square was glowing with Christmas lights. The air smelled of roasted nuts and mulled wine. Kids clutching hot chocolate while families strolled between the stalls. It was peaceful until it wasn't.
A vehicle has crashed into a crowd at a Christmas market in Magdeburg, Germany, leaving several people reportedly dead and dozens injured.
Out of nowhere, a black BMW SUV slipped into the pedestrian zone. At first, nobody noticed, but then it accelerated. The sound of music was drowned out by screams, shattering glass, and the heavy thud of impact. People were hit, thrown across a cobblestone. The market torn apart in seconds. The car didn't stop. It surged nearly 400 meters through the crowd before finally coming to a halt. 2 people were dead almost immediately, one of them a child. Dozens were left bleeding, injured, terrified. In the hours that followed, that number climbed, over 60 injured at first, later reports swelling to nearly 300, many critically hurt.
Ambulances and emergency services scramble to help those they can, taking people to hospital and treating at the scene. Hospitals in the area told to deal with a mass casualty event.
The driver was identified as 50-year-old Taib al-Abdul Mozen, a psychiatrist who had lived in Germany since 2006. To the outside world, he looked professional, educated, but his online presence told another story, radicalized, full of hate. This wasn't an accident. It wasn't confusion or a wrong turn. It was deliberate, a calculated act to turn a night of celebration into tragedy. When police pulled him from the wreckage, he showed no regret, just silence. In the days after, Magdeburg mourned, candles lined the streets, families grieved. Survivors tried to understand how such horror could erupt in the middle of something so ordinary. Then came the questions. Why were concrete barriers placed but emergency routes left unblocked? Why wasn't a simple chain across a lane installed like it should have been? Could it all have been prevented? And just when people were beginning to heal, survivors started receiving letters from him, the man who had already shattered their lives. unwanted words from a prison cell that ripped wounds back open. Now the scars remain, not just on the bodies of the injured, but in the square itself. A place once filled with music and joy now carries a silence heavy with memory, because tragedy doesn't only strike on distant battlefields or in old ghost stories. Sometimes it arrives in the middle of a Christmas market, delivered by human hands with cruel intent. In the quiet town of Elephant Butte, New Mexico, nobody suspected that one of the darkest crime scenes in U.S. history was hiding in plain sight. David Parker Ray, a soft-spoken state park worker, seemed totally ordinary until you stepped inside his trailer. Behind its walls, he'd built a torture chamber so twisted it earned the name the Toy Box. The nightmare came to light on March 22, 1999. A young woman named Cynthia Virgil Jorlow had been kidnapped in Albuquerque, dragged into Ray's RV, handcuffed, threatened at gunpoint, and taken to his home. Over 3 days, she endured horrors most couldn't even imagine, strapped to a gynecological chair, shocked with electricity, assaulted with crude instruments. Before the torment began, Ray played a pre-recorded tape in his monotone voice, calmly explaining exactly what she was about to experience. For many women, hearing that erased any hope, but Cynthia refused to give up. After 3 days, she escaped, wearing only a metal collar and covered in blood, running to a nearby couple's house, who immediately called 911.
Yes, I'm calling for a young lady that ran into the house saying she'd been raped. She's got a chain on her and everything. Please send someone right away. This lady is naked and everything else. She said they'd been holding her for 3 days.
Police stormed Ray's property and found the infamous Toy Box, a $100,000 chamber filled with whips, chains, syringes, clamps, surgical tools, and custom torture devices. Videotapes showed him abusing women, though no bodies were ever found. Investigators believe he may have slain over 60 women across New Mexico and Arizona over decades. In 2001, Ray was convicted of kidnapping and sexual assault, later taking a plea deal that added him 223 years in prison, but he didn't serve much of it. He died of a heart attack in 2002. His accomplice, girlfriend Cindy Hendy, who helped lure and abuse victims, served nearly 20 years and quietly moved to Washington after her release in 2019, sparking outrage when neighbors learned of her presence in 2024. Though Ray is gone, the shadow of his crimes lingers. Many victims may never be found, their fates lost to the desert. Cynthia survived, but her courage only scratches the surface of a case that remains one of the most disturbing the FBI has ever encountered. The Toy Box Killer is a chilling reminder that sometimes the worst monsters hide in plain sight, blending into everyday life until the moment they strike.
Supposed to be a Thanksgiving celebration. James Michael and 18 of his family members boarding the Carnival Valor last Wednesday in New Orleans.
Thanksgiving 2022. For James Michael Grimes, it was supposed to be nothing more than a family cruise. 18 relatives boarding the Carnival Valor in New Orleans. The ship was going against the black waters of the Gulf of Mexico, music pumping, laughter spilling across the decks. James had even won an air guitar contest that night. He was on top of the world. And then, nothing. He remembers heading to the bathroom, and the next thing he knew, darkness. When he came to, he was in the ocean. No ship, no life vest, no light. Just endless water and the cold realization that he'd fallen overboard.
Do you remember leaving and going to find the bathroom?
No, ma'am.
Do you remember falling off the boat?
No.
So you don't know how it happened?
No, ma'am. I came to regain consciousness. I was in the water with no boat in sight.
So you, for a while, were passed out in the water?
Yes, ma'am. Yep.
The Gulf is no place to be alone. Sharks, currents, exhaustion, everything out there wants to claim you. At one point, something big brushed past his leg. Not a shark, maybe, close enough to send fear shooting through him. He kicked, fought it off, and kept going.
Michael was alone in an area known to be a feeding ground for sharks.
I thought it was a shark. I mean, I was swimming in one direction, and I looked around, and I seen it at the corner of my eye. And it came up on me really quick. And I went under, and I could see it. And it wasn't a shark, I don't believe, but it had more like a flat mouth, and it came up and bumped one of my legs, and I kicked it with the other leg. It scared me, not knowing what it was.
The avid outdoorsman tried to stay positive and calm. Exhausted and hungry, he ate what he could find to maintain his energy.
A stick come floating by, looked like bamboo, so I started eating on it. And it actually, I mean, I'm not gonna say it tasted good, but it gave some type of flavor in my mouth other than salt water.
Was there any point while you were out there where you thought, I don't know how much longer I can keep doing this.
When it started getting back towards nighttime again, the water started getting colder. At that time, I thought, how much longer am I going to have to be out here?
Yeah, but you just kept swimming?
Yes, ma'am. The fall didn't kill me. Sea creatures didn't eat me. I felt like I was meant to get out of it.
Hours blurred into more hours. To keep himself alive, he chewed on a floating stick just for something other than salt water in his mouth. When night came again, the cold sank deep, and so did doubt. He thought about giving up, but one thought kept him alive: his 9-year-old daughter. Every time he wanted to stop swimming, he pictured her face. He prayed. He sang songs in his head. He told himself, "I'm not dying out here." By the next evening, nearly 20 hours after falling in, he spotted lights on the horizon, a tanker. That sight gave him just enough fight for one last push. He stripped off his clothes to wave his socks overhead, trying to be seen.
The sun was going down Thanksgiving night. James Michael says he spotted a glimmer of hope, the lights from a tanker ship, and decided to swim towards it.
That was my final little burst of energy. The strength that I had, I used pretty much every bit of it to try to make it to one of them.
The Coast Guard then arriving, his miraculous rescue captured on camera.
When the Coast Guard got there,
yeah,
what happened?
They circled the boat 2 or 3 times looking for me, and I'd done taken off my socks and everything and was just waving them around my head, trying to do something where they would see me. And when that light finally hit me, somehow I heard, "We got him." And I seen a guy coming down from that helicopter, and it was coming towards me. Right then I thought, man, I see the light.
When the Coast Guard guy showed up in the water, what'd you say to him?
Well, the first thing I actually told him was, "I don't have any clothes on." Because I didn't. I'd been stripped out of everything. He said, "That's fine." All right, and I was just like, okay. And he told me to hold on to this life vessel, and I was just thinking, thank you. You're like a guardian angel coming down.
And then, salvation. The Coast Guard helicopter circled. A searchlight swept over the waves, and finally, it locked on him. When they pulled him up, he was seconds from death. Doctors later found 2 punctured lungs, severe dehydration, and total exhaustion, but he was alive.
Rescuers believe he was seconds away from not making it.
I swam to as fast as I could. As I got to him, I shoved the rescue sling under his arms and he collapsed into it. He had nothing left.
Asked what kept him going, James had a simple answer: "I wasn't ready to go." He should have been another statistic, lost at sea. Instead, he walked away with a second chance, in a story that defies belief. Proof that sometimes survival isn't about strength or skill or luck. Sometimes it's just about refusing to quit. March 29th, 2020. Rain was coming down steady on the MYUU Expressway in Jiangxi Province, China. The road was slick, visibility was low, and a 7-passenger van was making its way down the highway. Inside were just 3 people: the driver, Mr. Zhou, and 2 women riding in the middle row. Zhou had his seatbelt on, the women didn't, and on a wet, winding stretch of road, that small choice would make all the difference. As the van picked up speed, the tires lost grip. The vehicle fishtailed. Zhou fought for control, but the front end smashed into a guardrail. In an instant, the van rolled onto its side and skidded to a stop. The driver stayed pinned in place, shaken but alive. The women weren't so lucky. One was thrown backward into the rear of the van, her body slamming against the seat frame. The other was hurled forward into the interior. Neither could brace themselves, and both were tossed violently around the cabin. When emergency crews arrived, Zhou walked away. The 2 passengers were pulled out with broken bones, severe bruising, and head trauma, alive but barely. There was no alcohol involved, no reckless history, just rain, speed, and no seatbelts. On that stretch of highway, survival came down to a simple strap across the chest, and for those 2 women, the lack of one turned a crash into a nightmare. This clip captures a group of tourists watching the tide roll in along China's Shantung River, completely unaware they're standing in one of the most dangerous tidal zones in the world. The Chantang River is famous for its tidal bore, a powerful surge where incoming tides form a wave that rushes upstream at nearly 25 miles per hour. These waves can rise several meters and change intensity without warning. Authorities regularly issue advisories and even restrict access during high tide, but not everyone follows the rules. The result? Scenes just like this, where calm sightseeing can turn into a deadly encounter with nature's raw force. January 22, 2024, a man calling himself Raj Patel, a community nurse, arrives at Patrick O'Hara and Jenny Leong's home on St. Thomas Street. He has paperwork, an ID badge, a mask, a cap, dark hair, beard, mustache, and a gentle bedside manner. He chats for roughly 45 minutes in a halting accent, checks vitals, and prepares what he claims is a COVID booster. Patrick offers his arm. The injection goes in. Raj leaves. The pain is instant and searing. He'd been told it was normal, but minutes later, Patrick's forearm feels a flame. In hospitals, surgeons diagnose fast-spreading necrotizing fasciitis. Over 5 weeks, they excise infected tissue to save his limb. Doctors flag the letter as counterfeit. Detectives retrace the nurse's route on CCTV back to Sunderland to a familiar door. It's Kwan's place, Jenny's son. Inside, a crude chemistry setup: mercury, sulfuric acid, thallium, arsenic, notes plotting multiple poisonings, and a tutorial for synthesizing iodomethane, the compound injected into Patrick. Investigators learn he'd planted spyware on his mother's laptop in 2020 to watch her finances, swapped plates before the trip, booked a hotel under an alias, tanned his skin, wore a wig and false facial hair, and texted a reminder to confirm the visit. Jenny later realized the nurse matched her son's height exactly. Patrick survives, scarred for life. October 2024, Kwan pleads guilty to attempted murder. On November 6, 2024, he's sentenced to 31 years, 5 months.
Hello there. Call you this time in the morning. Dr. Kwan. Dr. Kwan, hello. From Northumberland Police. Do you mind if we come in for a second, please? Yes. Thank you.
Kwan, you might as well just stay standing for us if you don't mind, please. The time is now 06:30 hours, okay? I'm arresting you for the offence of the suspicion of the attempted murder and administering a poison or noxious substance. If you do not mention one question, something which you later rely on in court, anything you do say may be given as evidence. So again, you're now under arrest on suspicion of those offences, okay?
This next video highlights the harsh reality of unsafe construction practices.
我操！这好，跟着拿。
Workers can be seen operating in hazardous conditions with little to no protective measures in place. Sadly, this isn't rare. In parts of the world where regulations are poorly enforced or outright ignored, these job sites leave workers exposed to risks that should be preventable. From unstable scaffolding to lack of protective equipment, the danger is everywhere. It's a sobering reminder of the price some pay just to earn a living. Here, divers off Brothers Island While one diver was completing his deep certification dive, an oceanic white-tipped shark began from the water and administered first aid. The injured diver survived, but the encounter left the entire group shaken. It's a chilling reminder how unpredictable shark behavior can be, even in routine dives. June 2, 2007, Kelsey Smith, 18, rushes to Target for a last-minute anniversary gift, a scrapbook for boyfriend John. She calls her mom for aisle help, checks out, and heads to the lot. Then she vanishes. She misses a date. By 9:30 p.m., her grandmother finds Kelsey's car at a nearby Macy's. Purse inside, phone and keys gone. Surveillance shows Kelsey entering Target at 6:55 p.m. A man in a white shirt arrives soon after, takes an interest, and exits when she heads to the register. Outside, the camera catches a struggle near Kelsey's car. Seconds later, her vehicle pulls away.
Realize how vital it was that John was sending her text messages.
I believe the text messages that I had sent her were used to help triangulate.
Because we were able to follow the pings down the highway, because John was texting her, please call me. That ended up being the saving grace because it led us to her. His text messages led us to her.
Police released the man's image. Calls flood in. Multiple women report odd encounters at the mall.
First 2 hours, it was, is this you? Yep, that's me. Is that your truck? Yep. Tell us why you're there.
Edwin told us he had been shopping for a present for his wife, but he wasn't the one who took Kelsey. Claimed he didn't have anything to do with her disappearance.
I was getting text messages on my pager from my boss telling me they were getting leads now from women at the mall who were approached by him. That's the guy that came up and was asking us those weird questions at the mall.
The man is identified as Edwin Roy Hall. He denies involvement, but a thumbprint on Kelsey's seatbelt buckle matches him, and DNA links him to her car.
Introduced himself. I'm not the guy. I'm not the guy. I'm that guy on the news, but I'm not the guy you're looking for. Right away, we realized the suspect has convinced his attorney he had nothing to do with it. He talked the suspect into giving up prints, photographs, DNA. You're here to eliminate yourself. Let's make this quick.
Meanwhile, a steady stream of texts from John keep Kelsey's phone pinging along a corridor, helping narrow the search. Grandview, Missouri. Kelsey's body is found. She's been abducted, assaulted, strangled in her car, staged back at the mall.
Call from the detective from Overland Park that was out at the search, and I was probably a mile from that area. He called and said, we've got crime scene B out here. We found Kelsey's body.
Found Kelsey. She was discovered nude and covered with branches. She had a gray belt tied around her neck. Her clothing was found about 100 feet away from where her body was found. What we later discovered is that she had been assaulted and strangled with that belt.
My question was, is this something we need to brace for? And he said, yeah, you better brace. Within just a few minutes, we met him right out here in the driveway, and they told us that Kelsey's body had been recovered.
I remember I started yelling, not my Kels, not my Kels.
I pull up right in front of my parents' house and I see them sitting on the back of Dad's pickup and they're just bawling. And seeing my dad cry like that.
We were dangling things in front of him, trying to get him to bite, and he just wouldn't do it. He was pretty smug most of the time, which was kind of pissing me off. Kind of came across as thinking he was the smartest person in the room. We had photos and the admission that he was at the mall and at Target, but we had nothing else. No witnesses, no nothing. Get a page from my boss, call me now. So I call him, and he said the Johnson County Crime Lab has matched the thumbprint on the back of the seatbelt buckle of her car.
On July 23, 2007, Hall pleads guilty to murder, kidnapping, and sexual assault. On September 16, he receives life without parole, housed at Lansing Correctional Facility. September 2025, inside a restaurant in West Yorkshire, CCTV captures two diners chatting casually when something terrifying happens. The The ceiling partially caves in right beside them, missing by inches. One man had strolled past that exact spot seconds earlier. A true case of wrong place, wrong time, and surviving only because fate said otherwise. Records show the building dated back to 1857 to 1859, which may explain the structural weakness. What looks like a snowstorm at first glance is actually something far stranger. A swarm of insects descended on a roadway in China, so thick they blanketed the ground and stopped vehicles in their tracks. Tires spun helplessly on the insect-coated asphalt, while traffic ground to a halt. Events like this are rare, but not unheard of. Massive locust swarms in Egypt and mayfly infestations in Texas have caused similar chaos. It's unsettling proof that even the smallest creatures in great enough numbers can disrupt daily life in extraordinary ways. October 5, 2005, Christy Wilson, 27, excels at blackjack at Thunder Valley Casino. Cameras show an older man edging closer. She rebuffs him. Staff, unsettled by her behavior, drinking but not visibly drunk, ask her to leave. The man offers to walk her to her car. Outside, he tries to put an arm around her again. She pulls away. At his vehicle, lights flash. The car idles nearly 4 minutes, then departs. Christy's car stays behind, and Christy herself is gone. Casino records identify the man, MYUU Garcia, 53, married, hospital employee from Auburn. The next morning, he carries fresh facial and chest scratches. He blames a tractor in Poison Oak. Patrons insist he had no marks the night before. Co-workers notice them the day after. Surveillance places him driving away from the casino in a direction opposite his own. His car appears freshly detailed, trunk mat missing. Investigators recover hair consistent with Christie's and blood on the rear seat. Phone data puts him well away from home after the casino. Garcia's past is grim, a violent assault on a former partner. 2 earlier travel-related deaths in his orbit, never charged. Prosecutors proceed without a body. In September 2006, a jury convicts him. He's sentenced to 59 to life. In August 2020, remains unearthed near his property are confirmed as Christy Wilson, 15 years later. In Brazil, a motorcyclist weaving through traffic was what many call a second birthday. A car turns abruptly across lanes without checking mirrors. The biker, filtering at speed, nearly slants directly into it. Whether his speed was legal hardly matters. The split-second dodge is the only reason he's alive today. A routine drive turned into disaster when a truck suddenly consumed by a sinkhole. These collapses can be caused by underground erosion, weakened caverns, or unstable soil. In seconds, the road gave way, leaving the vehicle trapped in a gaping hole. Sinkholes this size not only damage property but also threaten lives, forcing emergency crews to act fast to secure the area and assess further risk. One moment solid ground, the next nothing beneath you. Spring 2020, 16-year-old Louise Smith leaves her mother's home after arguments over her boyfriend Bradley and moves in with Aunt CJ Mays and Uncle Shane Mays. Louise is animal mad, dreams of veterinary work but struggles with anxiety and depression and is known to social services. Early on, she feels welcome. She even jokes about calling CJ and Shane mom and dad. Lockdown tightens everything. CJ finds cannabis, bait returns, visits from Bradley. A curfew follows. Louise messages friends on May 7 that she wants out and says Shane is flirting. She records him tickling her feet. CJ calls to patch things up. Louise stays. CCTV shows Shane and Louise on a shop trip. Some reports say he buys alcohol. That night, she texts that she's drunk and contacts a mental health helpline, saying she wants to hurt herself. On May 8, Louise leaves and goes silent. Phone masts place her near Havant Thicket around 4 p.m. By 5 p.m., the phone dies. Shane's account shifts. First the park, then Tesco, yet neither appears on relevant cameras. Police arrest and release CJ and Shane. On May 21, Louise's body is discovered in Woodland, beaten, burned, desecrated beyond recognition. DNA places Shane at the scene and on a stick used in the assault. CCTV shows them returning from the thicket. Blood traces are on his shoe. Prosecutors say he lured her to the woods, attempted to force himself on her, and when she resisted and screamed, beat her repeatedly. In court, he admits causing her death but calls it a sudden attack, claiming she was alive when he left. The jury finds him guilty. He receives life with a 25-year minimum. Captured at a shipping port, this dramatic footage shows a tall tower suddenly collapsing into rubble. In moments, steel and concrete gave way, scattering debris across the site. It's unclear exactly where this occurred, but the tower appears to have been part of the port's operational infrastructure. Whether due to poor maintenance, hidden structural flaws, or unforeseen stresses, the result is catastrophic. Incidents like this not only cause major operational disruptions, but also highlight the vital importance of routine safety checks on critical infrastructure. On the night of August 31st, 2025, a two-officer patrol unit in Phoenix stopped a man riding a bicycle without a headlight near 20th Street and Sunland Avenue. Instead of complying, the man tried to pedal away. After a brief attempt to flee, he abandoned the bike and stood in the roadway. Officers got out of their vehicle, but just before they could make contact, the man bolted again. Both officers quickly caught up, and as they attempted to detain him, the situation escalated. He resisted arrest, and in the middle of the struggle, one officer saw him pull out a knife. That officer immediately stepped back, drew his weapon, and shouted a warning to his partner.
Hey, turn over! Hey, what's in your hand? Hey, he's got a knife! (424 Mary 998).
The second officer moved away, but in that tense moment, the standoff turned deadly. An officer-involved shooting occurred. Responding officers quickly provided aid until Phoenix Fire arrived and rushed the man to a nearby hospital. Despite their efforts, he later died from his injuries. No one else was hurt during the encounter. The officer who fired has been with the South Mountain Precinct for just over 2 years and is now on leave pending the outcome of the investigation. But the key question investigators will be asking is this: why did a simple bicycle stop spiral into fatal confrontation? This next clip looks like a brewery commercial gone wrong. A tank under pressure bursts, sending beer foaming everywhere. It's the kind of mistake that turns draft into disaster. No injuries, but plenty of wasted pints. Spain is famous for its chaotic bull runs, but this particular clip shows why getting too close is asking for trouble.
Llámala, llámala. Hey, 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 vaca, hey, 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 hey. Vamos, vamos, vamos. Voy, 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 voy. Voy, va que se ha metido en la casa.
A woman unnecessarily steps into the path of the event. Within seconds, a massive bull charges straight through a doorway where she's standing. The look on her face when it appears, pure horror. It was supposed to be just another routine stop at the dock, but for one couple and their dog, It became a nightmare. After filling their boat with fuel in Macomb County, Michigan, they pushed away from shore, but within moments, the piece shattered. An explosion ripped through the vessel, tearing it apart in a flash of fire and smoke. Nearby witnesses froze in shock before rushing to the scene. Some screamed for help, others hurled flotation devices into the water, desperate to save whoever had been thrown clear. The couple, battered but alive, surfaced with only minor injuries, but their beloved dog wasn't so lucky. It was pulled from the wreckage and rushed to an emergency clinic, only to die before it could be saved. The once proud boat was reduced to wreckage, much of it sinking beneath the surface. Environmental crews arrived to keep toxic fuel and chemicals from spilling into the water. The dock itself was scarred but intact. Officials insist there is no sign of foul play, but an investigation is underway. For now, the truth lingers in smoke and silence at the site of a vessel that left the dock, only to never return. KwaZulu-Natal, South Africa is home to Crocodile Creek, a tourist stop known for close encounters with Nile crocodiles. A handler, experienced but overconfident, prods a giant croc snout with a stick.
Come.
The reptile snaps forward, clamping onto his leg. Reports say his injuries were severe, but surviving it all was nearly miraculous. Many people were shocked by a video that was shared on Instagram on September 13, 2024, and with good cause. It goes without saying that there is a very high chance of a stray bullet in a situation like this. Although I was unable to locate any information about the location of the video's filming, it appears to have taken place in the Middle East. Here are some tips for anyone who finds themselves at a party like this. Leave as quickly as you can, just like those three men did. A video posted on Instagram by the French skiing group Les Palo on April 18, 2023, features footage taken by a GoPro camera at El Roth, a resort on Lomé Mountain in France. Everything was going according to plan until an unforeseen circumstance occurred. The skier fell and plunged into a huge gully that had opened up in a matter of seconds, but he was lucky able to halt his descent. Later, the group posted an update stating that he was able to scale the walls with the help of crampons and ice axes he carried in his backpack. In order to ensure a successful rescue, his companions also threw down a rope to help him. Few kitchen dangers spread as fast as a grease fire. Many instinctively grab water, but hot oil instantly vaporizes it, creating a violent fireball. This clip shows exactly that. Flames erupting skyward in seconds. The correct move is smothering it with a lid or using an extinguisher, never water. September 2023, Brentwood, California. Former teacher Carlos Hurtado had been barred from school grounds, but that didn't stop him. He stormed the football field mid-game, running like a rogue player until coaches tackled him and police arrested him for trespassing. A very different kind of classroom disruption. Viewers familiar with drone footage might expect a crash and fizzle, not this time. A downed drone sits quietly for a moment before detonating seconds later. This delayed ignition suggests upgraded or modified payloads, making them even more dangerous on modern battlefields. After concluding his work shift, a motorcyclist was heading to his parents' house in Madura, a suburb in the northern part of Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, on June 15, 2024. However, what should have been a regular trip swiftly devolved into a terrible adventure. This was recorded by Navy Sergeant Leandro Aru de Oliveira, who nearly lost his life in an attempted robbery. Leandro was on his motorcycle when two armed men pulled up beside him. Realizing what was about to happen, he made a desperate move, turning against traffic in an attempt to escape. But the criminals didn't hesitate. They opened fire, bullets struck his backpack, and that should have been the end, but fate intervened. Inside the bag was nothing more than a planner and a small physical therapy ball, ordinary items that ended up absorbing the gunfire and saving his life. Later at the police station, cameras captured the state of the bullet-ridden planner, proof of just how close Leandro came to death. 2 shots had hit his back, but miraculously, not a single one made it through. Moments after the ambush, police rushed in and exchanged heavy gunfire with the assailants. In total, officers fired 19 rounds before the duo fled the scene. Shaken but alive, Leandro later thanked God for sparing his life and credited the swift response of police with driving the attackers away. Sometimes survival comes down to pure chance, and this was one of those moments. The footage you just saw captures the terrifying moment a magnitude 7.7 earthquake ripped through Asia on March 28, 2025. The epicenter struck near Mandalay in central Myanmar, unleashing catastrophic destruction across the region. The violent tremors were felt in Thailand, China, Bangladesh, India, and Laos, leaving millions in shock. Myanmar state television confirmed at least 144 lives lost and over 730 injured, numbers that continued to rise as rescue teams clawed through the debris. In a rare plea, the country's military government went live on air, asking the world for help. They begged for medical supplies, financial aid, and any assistance to cope with a disaster their fragile infrastructure simply wasn't built to withstand. In neighboring Thailand, the quake's reach was just as devastating. In Bangkok, an under-construction high-rise collapsed. Rescue teams scrambled through piles of concrete, searching for more than 100 people believed to be trapped. As of the latest reports, not a single one had been found. The earth shook for mere minutes, but the scars will last a lifetime. August 2025, in Nigdi, Turkey, a calm city street turns disastrous. A truck loses its brakes, barrels into multiple vehicles, and injures 6 people before skidding into an irrigation canal. Considering the violent force, the outcome could have been much worse. Passers-by record the aftermath, stunned by the wreckage.
This shit crazy, boy.
USAA.com.
Final destination.
USA.
Hell yeah, literally.
We're made for
right here.
If you're a horror movie fan like me, these images might instantly remind you of Final Destination 2, that one iconic scene that made every driver think twice before following a log truck. But on May 21st, 2021, fiction bled into reality. TikTok user Aaron Cox captured a chilling moment when a massive log flew off the back of a truck and speared straight through another vehicle's windshield. The footage is almost identical to the scene from the movie. Shards of glass scattered everywhere, and the log lodged itself deep inside the cab. This wasn't a staged stunt. It happened on a highway in the United States, and for a few terrifying moments, it looked like life was copying cinema's darkest script. Amazingly, no one was hurt. The passengers escaped unharmed, but the eerie resemblance to Final Destination left viewers rattled, because this time it could have been real, and the ending wouldn't have been so merciful. This first video shows just how dangerous poor construction and weak safety standards can be. A sidewalk that looked brand new suddenly gives way, swallowing 3 people into a hole beneath their feet. It's a reminder that even a finished project can still hide serious risks. Thankfully, the drop wasn't deep, and their co-workers rushed to pull them out. By sheer luck, no one was seriously injured this time. Zacatecas, Mexico. Dashcam style footage mounted on a locomotive shows an incredibly rare train-on-train collision. At first glance, it looks like a slow, routine crash, but freeze the frame and you will see an entire carriage lifted from the rails before being shoved back, a frightening display of raw kinetic force. Never, under any circumstances, stand beneath a suspended load. This video is a chilling reminder of why. The ground below a lift is an absolute no-go zone for a reason. One slip, one failure, and everything above comes crashing down. Here, the workers walked away without injury, but the outcome could have been catastrophic. This video begins innocently, with the store sitting in heavy rain, but moments later the entire structure collapses, and behind it, a massive surge of floodwater barrels through, flooded rivers, compromised foundations quickly, making nearby buildings collapse without warning. This was one of those moments.
Bitch, don't play with me. Do not play with me. Do not play with me, because I'm not the one nor the two. You're not the one or the two. Let's go. You ain't got shit done. You ain't gonna do nothing.
Name my ticket. Speaking on me for nothing.
Like I said, keep my name out your mouth.
Because mine is always in yours for some reason.
No, some reason.
It always is.
Out of here. Out of here before I slap the shit out of you.
You're not gonna smack.
Try me.
You think you're fucking tough? I'm not
trying me. Try me, Tizzy. I be done drop kicked your ass.
Checking in with Spirit Airlines can test anyone's patience, but here, it was the employee who lost it, hurling insults at a passenger, shouting, "I'm not the one," or the two, and daring them to step outside. Passengers expecting turbulence got it before even boarding.
Out of here, you dirt.
I'm not dirt.
Yes, you are. Fuck out. You and your raggedy ass. Out of here. Go shit. Like I said what I said, and I said what I said. Please step to me like you want it. Go suck another dirty. I'm not the one of the two. Tried me 2 times. I want you to do it a 3rd.
Valle del Cauca, Colombia, a driver films the twisting mountain roads when the truck ahead tips over suddenly. trailer flips sideways across the bend in an area where help is difficult to reach. News of the driver's condition remains unclear, making this clip even more haunting. On this ferry, workers guide cars to park as they normally do, until one suddenly accelerates at full speed. In a split second, the vehicle leaps over the ramp and plunges straight into the water. It's a horrifying reminder how fast things can spiral out of control, even during everyday tasks. Controlled demolitions are never a guessing game. Every angle, every strike, every cut must be calculated with precision by structural engineers and demolition experts. In this footage, the importance becomes obvious. If a structure falls even slightly off course, the results can be devastating. Securing the area from all sides is crucial, because once the collapse begins, there's no stopping it. On March 16, 2025, a quiet day in Chippenham turned into chaos inside an O2 phone store. A gang of masked men stormed in, ready to snatch everything in sight. But what they didn't know was that police were already waiting. Acting on intelligence, officers had positioned themselves nearby, expecting the hit. When the gang tried to make their move, the raid was cut short almost instantly. 6 men were arrested and later admitted to conspiracy to steal, earning sentences ranging from 8 months to just over 2 years in prison. But for the people inside the shop, those moments were terrifying. One customer said they genuinely fear the worst as masked figures closed in around them. Another, a sales assistant, admitted that ever since the raid, they feel uneasy every time someone new walks through the door. What was supposed to be a routine day of shopping turned into a nightmare, a reminder that when organized crime strikes, the fear it leaves behind lasts far longer than the crime itself. Someone places their phone in the middle of traffic, recording cars casually running it over. Cocoa Beach, Florida, 3rd grade teacher Carly Anderson attended a house party hosted by a principal where over 200 underage students were drinking.
Well, you know I'm a teacher. Who the did you put, who got put in that car? What? I was here hanging out at this party. I mean, what the
Body cam footage shows her drunk, slurring, even identifying herself as a teacher while arguing with police.
200 kids here drinking.
I've already known.
Drinking, okay? And you're drunk as well.
I'm not drunk.
Yes, you are. I smell it.
Oh, you smell it?
Yes.
Are you yelling at me?
Because you're here with your boss having a party with 200 kids who are drinking. Get out of my face. Now. You're intoxicated too.
Oh, who cares?
She was later convicted of disorderly intoxication, proof that role models can sometimes become cautionary tales. The man you see fleeing is Jalen. This isn't even his car, but as officers move in for the arrest, they're about to discover that the stolen vehicle will be the least of their problems. It's April 6th, 2025, just before 1 in the afternoon. Wauwatosa police spot a black Honda Accord reported stolen out of Milwaukee. 2 officers move in with a plan, one approaching from the north, the other from the south. They believe they boxed their suspect in. The setup looks perfect, but in the blink of an eye, everything unravels.
Hey, firm, it's on the east side of the building. We might be able to contain it because I'm north of it right now. At home park line, if we can get someone to come from the south end of the McDonald's. Is there one by the door? I believe so, yes.
141, I'll enter from the south. I was unable to see if it was occupied, but I'm at the entrance to the south.
10-4, I'll come in from the north.
10-4. Let me know when you're approaching.
I'm approaching, pulling in now.
Get on the f***ing ground! Don't f***ing move! Foot pursuit northbound. Gun! He just dropped the gun. He just dropped the gun. He's running.
Jalen suddenly bolts from the vehicle. As he takes off running, something clatters to the ground. It's a gun. Officers shout for him to stop, but he charges through parking lots and across driveways, refusing to surrender.
Round lazy boy, coming back out to Mayfair eastbound. Trust.
One officer stumbles mid-pursuit, but not before calling out a detailed description that keeps the chase alive. Black sweatshirt, green pants, armed and dangerous. Those words are all his partner needs.
He just dropped the gun. He just dropped the gun. He's running.
Ball squad head towards.
Right here. Black sweatshirt, green pants. Get on the f***ing ground!
Seconds later, Jalen is cut off and tackled to the ground. He thrashes and pleads, but officers force him into cuffs.
That kid was this. Don't move!
Left direction.
Taking him into custody.
What they soon learn makes the situation even worse. Jalen is a convicted felon. Back in 2022, he was caught in a high-speed pursuit in another stolen car. In 2023, he was arrested with a firearm despite being barred from ever possessing one. And now, once again, he is running with a weapon in hand.
I gotta get back to the bay over there.
Go. Drop the gun.
105 in custody, 3100 block Mayfair. You got another gun on you? You got another gun?
No.
Yeah, bullshit.
Shut up.
Negative is just one for now.
Just one?
Yeah, just him.
Nice job. All clear?
Not yet. You just watch that.
Oh, he's on paper. Look at him. Yeah, he f***ing dropped it right outside. Make
Sure that gun's secured.
He almost got shot.
I don't know. Find out where it is.
Yeah, he dropped it right outside.
Roll over.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, hold on. Yeah, come.
I'm getting up right now, sir. Hold on, sir. Let me pick my pants up.
No.
All right, that's cool.
Keep your hands out.
I am. My bad.
Stop grabbing for shit.
I apologize. I'm finna get it right now. Give me a second.
Bend your knee.
I'm sorry. Hold on. I'm sorry.
Stand up.
No, please carry me. Please.
No,
dude.
You're an adult. Let's go. You decided to run from the police.
I'm finna
Seriously?
get up. No, I'm finna get up, but don't. I ain't shit, bro.
Separate your feet.
Nice job. Thank you.
Let's go.
Here I come.
We're gonna walk to that car.
Which one?
Right there.
Yeah.
Execution could have been better, but still a work in progress.
The implemento.
Anyone else? Slow it down. Yeah, it was unoccupied when we cleaned it, but then he came out and opened the door. And he's like,
Bro, can you call somebody for me?
No.
No, I don't know them at all. Joe almost got fucking shot. Oh.
Good?
Yeah.
Good? Yeah. Sorry, I wanted to stay back for that.
No, I mean, yeah, I saw it fucking come out. I was like, what the f? Hey, sir, can you please grab my phone, sir?
Check those cuffs and double lock them for me.
What a weird set of circumstances. Why would you be doing legit business in a stolen car? That's not a polymer, no, that's a real Glock.
Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, I started running, I saw that, and I'm like, I should probably
stick around.
Oh yeah, like he came out, went in, tried to reverse, realized it wasn't gonna happen, and then he got back out, and then...
Man, I need to do more cardio like you. Hey, way to put that to work.
Dude, I can't believe it worked!
I know, man.
Fireworks gonna be so mad.
I know!
But the drama doesn't end at the street. Once brought back to the station, Jalen tries to turn the tables. He denies the stolen car. He denies the weapon. He even starts questioning the officers themselves, demanding to know why they chased him, how they spotted the car, and what evidence they really had. He shifts his story at every turn, claiming fear of police, confusion, and eventually suggesting excessive force was used.
Well, you got out of McDonald's. You obviously saw us, right? Jumped in the car, tried to flee in the car, correct?
Yes, sir. I stepped in the vehicle, yes, sir.
Okay. To flee?
No, sir. Not to flee, no, sir.
Well, what did you get in the vehicle for?
I didn't.
And put it in reverse.
Sir, I just got in the vehicle. I thought you guys were going somewhere totally else, sir.
Well, I don't believe you because then you immediately got out and ran.
Yes, sir. I ran because I'm a bracelet, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And you had a gun on you?
Allegedly.
Well, no, not a lot. Like, I physically saw the gun fall from your person. Don't f***ing move!
Yes, sir.
Like, you literally took it out and dropped it on the ground along with the...
Yes, sir, allegedly.
Okay, so are you saying that you had a gun on you?
Or did it just fall from
I'm
there?
not saying I had a gun on me at all, sir.
So, did you have a gun on you? No. Okay. So why would you run if you didn't have a gun and you didn't flee? Why would you run?
Sir, you probably heard this multiple times, but I'm terrified of police officers. I had a cousin killed by you guys. No, he did not have a weapon. It wasn't Wauwatosa police officers.
Well, that's good.
It wasn't exactly you
Well,
guys.
not good. I'm sorry to hear that.
I understand what you're saying. That's why I didn't take it as disrespect.
Whose car is that?
It's not my car, sir.
Whose is it?
I don't know, sir.
So you just don't know whose car you drive?
So that's the time where you guys saw me coming out. I didn't physically drive the car, but I did get in the driver's seat of the car.
Okay.
I understand what you're saying.
So whose car was that you drove? Or that you got into?
I have no knowledge to it, sir.
So you don't know whose car that is?
No, sir, I have no knowledge to it, sir.
So you're just getting in a stranger's car?
No,
when you saw us?
No, sir. No.
Because you got in, you just admitted to getting in the car.
I'm agreeing with you, sir. I'm agreeing with you.
Sure. So you got in, so either you got into a complete stranger's car, randomly.
Yes, sir. I'm not saying
or you
yes
drove
to
there.
that. I'm not.
In the Honda.
Next question, please. I have a question. What exactly are my charges at the moment?
Probably going to get another bail jumping.
Where would the bail jumping come from? I'm not out on bail.
Oh, well, do you have a PO?
Yes.
Okay, so it'd probably be a probation violation.
Okay, I understand.
And then you don't want to answer any statements about the gun?
No, sir.
Did you know that car was stolen?
No, sir. I think we talked about it already.
Your flip-flops? Dude, I don't know where they are. Because I know one went flying in the drive-thru. I don't know where the other one went.
How did you guys get, dispatched? What was going on? I remember you did tell me that the car was stolen. So what did you guys, I know you guys have cameras on the lights. Did y'all just, happen to see a light and say, okay, that's that stolen vehicle out of
We have plate readers on our car.
I don't know if dispatch is the right word.
Mm-hmm. That's the right word.
How did you guys get to the point where let's get this car, let's chase this stolen car and box this stolen car and
we got an alert.
Alert. Where was the alert? I'm curious. I'm just trying to see how.
None of it matters. The evidence is overwhelming. The car is confirmed stolen. The Glock he dropped was real. And the entire chase, arrest, and recovery were caught on body camera. By the end of the day, Jalen is booked into Milwaukee County Jail. His charges: felony possession of a firearm by convicted felon and resisting arrest. His bond set at $5,000. His sentencing scheduled for August 11, 2025. What began as a routine stolen car stop spiraled into a dangerous pursuit that could have ended in tragedy. Instead, it ended with one more felon back behind bars, and officers narrowly avoiding a deadly encounter. The final clip shows the frightening experience of being caught on a bridge during an earthquake. Bridges in seismic regions are designed with features like flexible foundations, seismic isolators, and reinforced materials that allow them to absorb violent shaking without collapsing. But even with those safeguards, the experience is terrifying. Expansion joints creak, support shifts, and concrete sways. It's a vivid demonstration of engineering meeting raw seismic force and how those designs can mean the difference between survival and tragedy. On the evening of August 30th, 2025 at approximately 7:31 p.m., an Aurora police officer attempted to stop a vehicle for a routine traffic violation. What followed was anything but routine. The driver struck another car traveling eastbound along East 6th Avenue, then veered across the median and collided head-on with a second vehicle going westbound. In the chaotic aftermath, the officer approached the wreckage and issued commands to the driver, but instead of complying, the man got out and ignored every instruction. A physical struggle broke out. That's when the officer spotted something chilling, a firearm lying on the ground nearby. The man wasn't holding it, but as he advanced toward the officer in a fighting stance, the threat grew undeniable.
6th, just east of 225. Get a couple cars here now. Stay in the, give me your hands. Show me your hands. Get your hands up, dude.
Don't shoot me.
Get your hands up right now. Get your hands up.
Yeah.
Get on the ground. Get on the ground. Get away from that motherfucking gun. Get on the ground now.
Get that shit.
Get on the ground now.
Get that shit. Get that shit. Get that shit.
I'll shoot you.
Get that shit. Get that shit.
Dad, chill. No.
Get that shit.
No, Dad, chill.
Get that shit.
Officer, chill. Dad.
Get that shit.
Get on the ground.
The officer backed away, still giving commands, before ultimately firing his weapon.
Yeah.
Dad, chill.
So, you ready for this? You ready for this?
Get on the ground.
You ready for this? You ready for this, huh? You ready for this, huh?
Get on the ground.
You ready for this?
Shots fired. 245 shots fired. Give me some cars. Cruiser. Ambulance hot. No. It's not a tourniquet kind of thing. Thank you. Stay there. Hey, hey! Get over there behind us. There's a gun over there. Behind the boxes. Shut it all down. Sable, westbound, highway, eastbound. What?
They just shot my dad. He didn't have no gun.
Did you find that gun?
He threw the gun.
I got you right here, bro.
You got it? Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. They just shot my dad.
Just trying to help. No, let her help. She's okay.
Oh, you're sorry about that.
No, it's okay. I'm ER. I'm here to help.
You got it?
The police just shot my dad, man. No.
There's one in the head as well.
That is my dad, bro. That is my dad.
Additional units rushed to the scene and attempted life-saving measures, but the man was pronounced dead at the site.
Here, let's go. Come with me, come. You got your camera on?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna get you in my car. We're gonna go to HQ.
Okay.
Recon. We're going to HQ. Take this. We're going to HQ.
My car, black car over there. Keys are probably in it.
Okay. Come with me. I'll be with you in just a moment. Get that shit. Get that shit.
I'll shoot you.
Get that shit. Get that shit.
Dad, chill. No.
Get that shit.
No, Dad, chill.
Get that shit.
Officer, chill. Dad.
Get that shit.
Get on the ground.
Get that shit.
Get on the ground.
Oh, yeah.
Dad, chill.
So, you ready for this? You ready for this?
Get on the ground.
You ready for this? You ready for this, huh? You ready for this, huh?
Get on the ground.
You ready for this?
As per department policy, the officer has been placed on paid administrative leave while the investigation moves forward. For now, the unanswered question lingers. Why did a simple traffic stop spiral into a deadly encounter? Greg Plitt was larger than life, a West Point graduate, former Army Ranger, fitness model, and motivational figure. He graced over 200 magazine covers and inspired millions with his raw, no-excuses drive. He was the kind of man who lived on the edge, and in January 2015, that edge became his undoing. Greg was filming a promotional video on live train tracks in Burbank, California. With no permits or safety measures, he sprinted between the rails as a commuter train barreled toward him at 60 miles per hour. The engineer sounded the horn, hit the brakes, but it was too late. Greg misjudged the distance and speed. He was struck and killed instantly. The tragedy sparked outrage, not only because it was preventable, but because it echoed other film set disasters where safety was ignored. Tributes remembered Greg as a mentor and motivator who helped people push past limits, but his death carried a hard lesson. No shot, no stunt is worth a life. Even the strongest heroes can't outrun a train. Late one night in Puch Chung, Malaysia, driving school sat empty, or at least it should have been. Only two people, a man and a woman said to be a couple, slipped inside to collect a forgotten document. First, nothing seemed unusual. The two lingered in different corners of the building before eventually settling in the cafeteria. But things quickly soured. The man tried to make an advance, and when she resisted, he blocked her way. Cornered, she sat back down, clearly determined not to give in. The tension in the air was already thick, but what came next was far worse than an argument. He left for another room, searching for the document they'd come for. Security cameras show him rolling through papers, shoving books into his bag, when suddenly one of the doors moved on its own. Moments later, computers around him powered on without warning, their glow cutting through the dark. When he crouched to inspect them, they flicked off. As soon as he stood, they blazed to life again. Something was toying with him. Then the door slammed shut, and he barely made it out. Meanwhile, in the cafeteria, the woman sat scrolling her phone. A heavy chair screeched across the floor. She dialed the man's number, but the calls never went through. Another chair slid toward her, closer this time. The shock sent her sprawling. As she tried to flee, she collapsed in terror, unable to move. You'd expect the man to return, but he never did. The footage ends with her unconscious on the cafeteria floor, and his whereabouts remain a mystery. According to locals, the aftermath was even more disturbing. The woman was left traumatized, eventually confined to a psychiatric hospital. The man, however, vanished completely that night. To this day, no one knows what became of him, so the question lingers. Did something in that building take him, or did he run, leaving her behind to face the nightmare alone? There are two things that men truly don't do well together. It involves blades and nudity. Try saying that to this man who barged into a Japanese convenience store brandishing a knife while naked. At first glance, he seems to be looking for something, but then he starts slicing random items while ignoring the owner's cries. Fortunately, he is quickly escorted out by the cops. It took less than 2 minutes. That's all the time it took for 4 masked men to descend on a jewelry store in West Seattle and vanish into the night with over $2 million in treasure. The surveillance footage is chilling. Hammers crash against locked glass doors, shards scattering like broken ice. Within seconds, the crew is inside. One suspect unleashes bear spray and a taser, pushing terrified employees back into the shadows. The others don't hesitate, smashing display cases with ruthless precision. Every swing of the hammer releases another prize, a single case of Rolex watches worth nearly $800,000. Another, a $125,000 emerald necklace glittering in the shattered glass. Platinum, diamonds, gold, gone in under 90 seconds. When it was over, there was nothing but silence. The thieves fled in a waiting getaway car. By the time employees stepped outside, the masked figures were already ghosts, leaving behind only broken glass and the eerie emptiness of a crime scene. Police say no one was hurt, but the damage was done. Millions lost, lives shaken, and a violent crew still at large. So who are they? Professionals striking with military precision, or desperate opportunists who got lucky this time? Because here's the haunting part. It only took them 2 minutes to strip the store bare. Where will they strike next? On August 16, 2025, a truck carrying chemicals and paint caught fire on the Samsung Ankara Highway in Turkey after a brake failure. Traveling nearly 8 kilometers, engulfed in flames before crashing into roadside barriers. The driver escaped with minor injuries, while the blaze spread to nearby trees and prompted a large emergency response from firefighters and police, leading to a temporary 25-minute closure of the highway until the fire was fully contained. The Mogul Anandi commune in Romania is where the CCTV footage you're viewing was captured on August 3, 2025. There appears to be a man wearing a blue shirt on what appears to be a calm morning. Observe. The man was standing directly in front of a business where a rather large explosion had place. At first, he had trouble leaving, but he was able to do so in time. No victims have been named, according to Romanian sources. However, since I couldn't locate any news mentioning casualties, this might be a translation error. On August 20th, 2025 in Ufa, Russia, surveillance footage captured a bizarre and dangerous moment when a man casually walking slipped and fell directly onto a pressurized beer keg he had taken from a garbage dump.
Вон банк там возьми, оторвешься. Бля!
The impact caused a lightweight plastic keg to explode violently, setting off nearby car alarms and startling residents in the area enough that some called the police. The noise of the blast made it sound far worse than it turned out to be. Despite the force of the explosion, the man managed to get back on his feet almost immediately and walked toward a nearby building without assistance. Reports note that the keg was a common pet container used for storing and serving beer. And while no official update on his condition has been released, the video strongly suggests he avoided serious injury. One of the northernmost states of India is Himachal Pradesh. It is located in the Himalayas western region. Additionally, if you've been following the channel, you're aware that these regions are renowned for their rugged landscapes.
मौका बड़ा था चली भाई खबरदार चली गड्डी चली बेचारे देखो कितना
Since I didn't notice any indications of a landslide, it's possible that they underestimated the cliff's steepness. The tipper truck tipped as a result of the driver running over the mud pile. Isn't that ironic? Thankfully, though, the driver was unharmed. I'm rather astonished, though, that it's rolling down like that. This truck took a sharp turn, lost control, and tipped over. Not sure what caused it, but there were no reported injuries. On August 13th, 2025, Cheektowaga police moved in on an address in Buffalo, 269 Sanders Road, hoping to finally bring in a man tied to a violent assault just 2 days earlier at a Genesee Street hotel. There was already a stay-away order of protection in place, one that was blatantly violated just by being there. And with a history of violence, officers knew there was a real risk this encounter could spiral out of control. They approached apartment 4 not knowing what waited on the other side of that door.
Incident is happening here in Campbell that typically fighting. They were advised.
Cheektowaga Police, you lost some property. We're just trying to return it to you. Mr. Davis, you lost some property. We're just trying to return it to you. You left some stuff in your rental car. They called us.
You're in there.
Someone come out. What is it supposed to say? Can't see it.
She said he wandered?
Yeah.
Where'd you go?
Gas station, she mentioned. You ask her again.
Yeah.
Then suddenly, 60-year-old MYUU Davis Jr. exploded out of the apartment. In his hand, a large knife glinting in the light. He swung wildly, lunging at officers, stabbing toward them in a frenzy. With almost no room to react, one officer pulled his sidearm and fired 3 shots at nearly point-blank range.
If she knows if there's any of his known hangouts. I guess he's a nuisance here. She said they all
I'm
need him.
sure. I'm sure.
Oops. Oops. I'm just trying to knock. Oh, shit. This thing wasn't even on. Come on, please. What's that about doing? He got a knife. He got a knife. Drop the knife. Drop the knife. Drop it. Drop it. You guys good?
We're good.
Radio shots fired. We got one down. We're okay. Let everyone know. Don't move. Don't move. Don't move. Don't move.
Who's got money?
Oh, shit. This thing wasn't even on. Keep going, please. What was that about doing? He got a knife. Drop the knife. Drop the knife. Stop it. Stop it.
The suspect went down instantly. A shots fired call crackled through radios. Officers scrambled for medical kits, racing back in to try and save his life, but it was already too late. No officers were physically injured, but the confrontation raised a chilling question. What began as an attempt to serve a warrant ended in a blur of steel and gunfire. Was this a man determined to go down fighting, or was this violent explosion always inevitable? On June 21, 2025, what was supposed to be a scenic hot air balloon ride in Praia Grande, Santa Catarina, Brazil, turned into a tragedy just minutes after takeoff. Roughly 4 minutes into the flight, flames suddenly broke out inside the basket. Investigators believe the fire may have started from an auxiliary torch used to light the main burner. The pilot insisted he hadn't touched the torch that day and suggested it could have slipped from his flight bag and ignited by accident, but he couldn't confirm this as the cause.
Não, é uma pessoa, eu tô vendo aqui no zoom da câmera, gente, ele se jogou!
Se jogou porque tá pegando fogo.
Ai, Evelyn!
Ai, o outro lá, vamos pra lá.
Tem mais um!
Jesus Cristo.
As the fire spread and the basket grew dangerously hot, the pilot ordered an emergency landing and told passengers to jump once they were close enough to the ground. Out of the 21 people on board, 13, including the pilot, were able to escape. Their weight loss caused the balloon to rise again, leaving 8 passengers trapped. 4 of them left from about 150 feet, sustaining severe injuries, while the remaining 4 went down with the basket, none of whom survived. 5 of the survivors were treated for injuries at a local hospital and later released. One passenger reported that the onboard fire extinguisher had failed during the crisis, leaving them with no way to fight the flames. The balloon company had only begun operations in September 2024 and was licensed to carry up to 27 passengers with a maximum weight capacity of nearly 6,600 pounds. Following the disaster, Brazil's Civil Aviation Authority launched an investigation into the company's equipment and procedures. Operations were suspended indefinitely. The company released a statement expressing expressing sorrow for the victims while pledging to fully support their families. On July 28th, at a track station in South Salt Lake, a 56-year-old man tried to snatch a baby straight from a stroller. You can see him enter the flame, moving directly toward the mother and child. She backs away, but he follows, reportedly saying the chilling words, "Give her to me." The mother managed to protect her child, and police later arrested the man, but it raises the question, what will you do if this happened to you in broad daylight? Thanks for watching. Stay vigilant, friends.